Hello, viewers. So, this video is extremely special for us because few days ago, we reached a mini milestone of 100 videos and we uploaded a short video asking you guys to share your questions if you have any. And we got quite a few questions which are extremely interesting, and we are humbled looking at the feedback, the kind of appreciation, not only for that video, but for the entire journey that we have taken through, and the kind of support that we have got has been really humbling, and we can't thank you enough. And we are just making this video to address those questions, and yeah, let you guys know whatever our thoughts are. Do you want to add anything before we begin?
Yeah, so address them as thoroughly and honestly as possible,
Yeah.
right? A disclaimer that we have, I mean, there were a lot of redundancy, a lot of duplicate
Hmm.
questions. So, what we have done is we have packed them together, merged them together, paraphrased in some instances,
Hmm.
but you would know that we are addressing your queries, right?
Yeah.
And we apologize and sorry if we missed any other questions.
Hmm.
You can let us know if you have missed any,
Yeah.
and if you further wanna ask us anything, just drop a comment, and we will try to respond in the comments.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think we should. This would be a journey, so let's get into it.
Yeah. Let's get started. So the first question that we have is to tell the audience briefly about ourselves. Where do we live in Pakistan? A bit about our childhood and how long have we been abroad, and why we actually landed in Germany and decided to settle here.
Right.
So,
You wanna go first?
yeah, I can go first. So, um, I think by now, few of you might know, we both are from Pakistan. We belong to the city called Karachi, which we absolutely love. We had our humble beginning from there. We studied there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, um, but yeah, this is basically a short intro of from where do we belong, and um, I think most of the subcontinental parents would agree with me that you either become a doctor or engineer. Sometimes you are not given too much options. But yeah, we both are engineers by profession. And the interesting thing why we came here in Germany. So I'll answer why I came here, and then you can let all of us know. So for me, there wasn't anything planned, to be honest, I didn't plan coming here and living in Germany. I was working in Dubai for some time. Then it was kind of a right opportunity at the right moment for me. I got an offer from an ex-employer, and because of them, I came to Germany because they were expanding their operations. I must tell you though that Harris, he always wanted one of his friends. We have a very close-knit group of few friends.
All. Hey,
Yeah,
hey, hey.
yeah,
All,
yeah,
all.
all, yeah,
Correction.
yeah. He always wanted all of us to be in Germany because he came to Germany first. And for me, it was chance, and it was. I mean, one of the thing was that I was going to reunite with him as well. So I took that chance and came here, and I've been living here for over 3 years now.
Right. Just want to add that nothing much. I mean, we are from Karachi. I'm as well. And yeah, I landed in Germany like a almost more than 7 years ago.
Hmm.
And yeah, it wasn't planned. It was just an opportunity not knocking at my door
Hmm.
that I couldn't refuse. And I actually did not want to move at that time, but I take chances.
Yeah.
I take chances. I yeah, and I just did. So that's how I landed here. By the way, I'm living in Berlin, and
Yeah.
so I think that's it.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next one then.
All right. The next question we have is, we have already known that you guys are Pakistani. My question is, which ethnicity you two belong to?
Hmm.
Speaking in very strict terms, my parents were migrants, as not strictly my parents actually. I have a migrant background, as so many others in subcontinent,
Mm.
due to our bloody history.
Yeah.
But I am third generation Karachiite. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, me, my parents were all born in Karachi, raised in Karachi. So that, although I strictly am against the notions of ethnicity and nationality,
Hmm.
or I wouldn't say nationality, but patriotism or nationalism is what I'm very strictly against. So yeah, I mean, if someone asks me that I'm from Pakistan, and that usually suffices for me.
Hmm. Yeah. I think I would like to chime in on that. I'm also from a migrant family. My parents actually moved from India to Pakistan. So yeah, that's about it. But I don't know if you call it an ethnicity or not. But our parents were originally from Bihar. So, but we don't know if being Bihari is an ethnicity. But yeah, I kind of agree with Hari's thought. I mean, I'm a bit nationalistic, but not hyper nationalist, I would say. So, but yeah, I think I would also agree with him on this particular point, though. I'm also against hyper nationalism.
All right, yeah. So these are a few differences, very minor differences that we always have in a friendship. Divergent of thoughts, divergent of values, and this is where we minutely diverge
Hmm.
in our values and thinking. But that's what strengthen our relationships, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
moving on. Are Haris and Hamad best friends, and how and since when you two became friends? Are you guys friends since childhood?
No, we aren't friends since childhood. We met in
You kinda
university.
are.
Yeah, if you call 18 as being a child, so yeah. So yeah, but we met in university. We both met in engineering university. I think Haris was a computer engineer by heart. I think he had the passion for computer engineering. I was forced to be a computer engineer, although I wanted to be a different kind of engineer. I had interest in chemical engineering, but I'm pretty happy that I landed in computer or software engineering. So our journey dates back from the university days, and it's kind of interesting that Haris was my first friend in university. So we didn't know each other, just met and became friends instantly on the first day of university.
Right. Just want to address that there was a part that Haris and Hamad are best friends. I would mention that we always, since the first year of university, that we had a group of friends, group of
Hmm.
six
Hmm.
uh, guys, most, I mean, strictly male friends. And that that unit is kind of best,
Yeah.
right? There are no subgroups. This six folks
Hmm.
are, I mean, we are family.
Yeah.
We are absolute family since then. Although yes, true fact that me and Hamad became friends on the very first day.
Yeah.
I think that is a story that might come later.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Well, moving on. The next question I think will cover the point that you were mentioning. So it will be great if you share funny and sad stories of your life. You can share your life stories as much as possible. Any stories between you two, between both of us. So um, I want to go first here. So, um, as I told you guys that Harris was my first friend in university, it is quite an interesting story. It's a funny story as well. We still discuss this story quite often. So, uh, we use a term called mummy daddy in Karachi, mummy daddy kid, right? So, a nerd or a kind of mama's boy. So,
Nerd, nerdy.
I was a nerd. And Hardest doesn't agree, but he is a nerd as well. Um,
I I don't disagree.
oh, you
I don't
don't?
disagree.
Okay, all right. Anyways,
I mean, I had an appearance of a very nerdy guy
yes, that's
till
what I
this
was
year.
coming to.
Yeah, go ahead. By the way,
So, I mean, we were kind of good students. We had good scores in colleges. We moved to a good university, and the Haris that you are seeing right now, he was not the same during university days. I mean, I was also not the same, but he had his specs on, and he was literally sitting at the front, not the front, but the second bench, I would say, when I sat next to him. And why I sat next to him, because he looked a true nerd, a kind of guy who would be very studious, who would be very, I would say, great in studies, a very simple kind of a guy.
how wrong were you? How immensely wrong were you?
And I don't know if any one of you can resonate, but smoking was not really considered or was kind of frowned upon in some families or in Pakistan as well back in those days. So people used to think in a way that if someone smokes, he's not going to be a good person or blah blah blah. It would be a wrong company for you. And I ended up with Haris. I thought he is the right kind of guy who I can have a friendship with. And he took me outside just a kind of a walk to get to know each other. And the first thing that he did was that he took the pack of cigarette out and the lighter out. He smoked one cigarette and he instantly offered me once the cigarette again. And I was in a state of shock at that point that have I made the right choice or not? I mean, I didn't used to smoke, so I politely declined, but I was having these thoughts in that mind that, okay, I probably have made the mistake, but fortunately it wasn't. So that's one
Yeah.
story that we keep on discussing.
All right, so I'm gonna give you my take on it, my version of yeah. So yeah, that was the first day of our classes, and I didn't know anything, and I was sitting by chance on the second row, and since then I've never,
Never.
never. I mean, I was a backbencher through and through,
Yeah.
from my soul,
Yeah.
from my heart and soul. I was a backbencher always, and I used to drag every one of you, like all six.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so what happened was that he was sitting beside me by chance. I didn't know there were some intentions. He intentionally came to sit beside me. I didn't know that. But during the gap between two periods, I just asked him, "Hey, do you want to go for a walk?" And he said, "Yeah, why not?" And and that was it. And we are here.
Yeah.
We are here, right? And I used to smoke back then, yes, and it's a polite thing to offer.
It's like you are having food and you offer someone, yeah, would you like to join me?
Yeah, I mean, polite thing to offer. Come on, that was
Yeah.
our first day, right? I wanted to make some impressions, but but yes, I think I just asked him, "Hey, do you wanna take a walk with me?" And he said, "Yes, why not?" And that was it. And we are here.
Yeah.
We are
Absolutely.
here, right? But coming back to the question itself, funny stories and all. I mean, this is such a journey.
Hmm.
This has been, I don't know, how many, more than a decade, decade and a half,
Yeah.
that we have spent together. We are that 4 year period in our universities was the golden period of our
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
right? And we enjoyed every single moment, every single moment. I can tell you, I can share an anecdote that, as I was mentioning, Hammad was exceptionally wrong when it came to judging me as a nerd. Why I'm saying this is because I was a bunker.
Yeah.
I was not into studying. I was a bunker, and at that time I was like, you know what? I have studied enough in my life. Now I want to enjoy. So, what I did, if you remember or not, we had thermodynamics and calculus.
Hmm.
These two subjects I remember that we bunked 11 classes in a row.
Yeah. Straight.
Both of these subjects. There were other subjects that we used to bunk as well. Like there, we didn't pick only two. There were many others that we just bunked, and yeah, we bunked those two subjects in a row
In a row.
11 times.
Yeah.
And because of that, I always used to be short on attendance, and these guys were mostly doing my proxy attendances,
I think you got some
especially
letters.
Ahmad.
Yeah. I think you got
Yes,
some letters.
I did get letters from university that my attendance is short. And funnily enough, because both my parents were working, I used to receive those letters, and they never got to see those letters. Actually, my father found out those letters after I was done with engineering, and he had tears in his eyes from laughing when
Hmm.
he was showing those
Those
letters to
letters.
my mom. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, this was not just the first year. I was short on attendance in second year, third year, fourth year,
Hmm.
every year. And I think we used to bunk together, all our friends, sit out, go outside, have
Yeah.
fun. I mean, we have laughed together so much. We have cried while laughing
Absolutely.
so many times, like we were laughing so hard that the tears came out. I mean, I can't really remember any specific story where I wouldn't be embarrassing my other friends. um, but yeah, I mean, that's how it is, and that is still how it is whenever we gather. The thing is, all our friends now are in separate places all
Hmm.
around the world, that group of six. And yeah, I, as Ahmad said, that I wanted everyone in a single place.
Hmm.
And I, because I was here first, I made a lot of efforts for everyone to be here. But fate takes you wherever it takes you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I maybe I will add something later on if I remember.
Okay. All right. Next question then. How did you guys come to know that you have the same passion towards music and stuff?
Simple enough, right? So we have spent so much time together, so much time,
Hmm.
that we had similar passions, similar hobbies, similar interests. Maybe we also had very divergent hobbies, very
Hmm.
divergent interests. But I think music and cricket and movies and literature was
Literature, yeah.
something that we had in common.
Yeah.
And yeah, music was one of them. Hamad keeps mentioning during our videos that we should talk about this music during our university days, our student days,
Yeah.
and this has been true. We have been talking about music and other interests since a long time ago. I mean,
Yeah.
so that's how we know what our parallels are and where we overlap. We
Hmm.
also know that where we don't overlap,
Yeah.
where we don't have parallels, right?
Yeah.
I think we know each other really, really well
Yeah.
in terms of the nature, the habits,
Hmm.
the psychology, the personality,
Yeah, true.
right?
I mean, we have been together for over 15 years, as you mentioned, so we kind of know each and everything about each other. So, and there were plenty of common things, as Haris mentioned. Music, one of them. We used to listen to music when we used to go to his house for combined study, so-called combined study. So we used to enjoy music there. We used to go on drive playing music. And I think most of us had a similar kind of taste in music as well. We grew up listening to a similar kind of music. So
No, but in our group, one of the guy had interest in death metal
death
at
metal,
that time.
yeah.
One of the guys had interest in metal. Someone had ghazals,
Hmm.
romance,
Yeah.
tragic, folk, rock.
Hmm.
It was a diverse
Diverse
group.
group, yeah.
Yeah, we had our
True.
parallels, but we also had our divergences.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, can we move on to the next one?
Yeah.
All right, what do you like most beside music? What's your favorite games, food, fashion, movies, movie stars? And I am especially interested about Hammad's most favorite actress. So you take it.
Okay. Why me? Why did you ask me about my favorite actress?
I didn't.
You
I
you
didn't.
didn't. Okay, I know, I know. All right. So going through the question. Um, Most favorite thing beside music, I think for me and Harris, I'm just guessing, but I think it's cricket. I mean, the common thing that we have um, as favorite beside music is cricket. We discuss cricket a lot. We have a separate, not separate, but a chat group where we discuss most of the matches, anything about sports, news, articles. We share those stuff with each other. Favorite games? I'm not a gamer. I mean, I used to play games back in university or maybe in college, mostly FIFA. So, and a bit of Counter Strike, not that much. And yeah, foods, I think for me, I eat anything. I don't,
Everything.
everything. I'm not really, I'm not really picky and choosy in terms of food. So you give me seafood, meat, vegetable, anything, and I'll eat that. And fashion lines, I don't think I have any specific preference for brand. Would rather go for anything comfy. Um, yeah, and try to keep it simple. And movies, I cannot name a lot. I mean, I have been a movie buff, Hollywood, Bollywood, even Korean, Japanese movies, Persian movies. I've watched a lot of movies, but can't really pick one of. If you have to ask one movie that I recommend a lot to most of people, it would be Rush, a movie called Rush, which is the rivalry between Niki Lauda and James Hunt. It's a real life story. So that's one movie that I love. Favorite actress. Uh, that's interesting. I mean, if you talk about Bollywood, because I've watched Bollywood a lot, at one point in time, I liked the acting of Priyanka Chopra. She was pretty versatile. She has had many roles. So I personally liked her. In the recent lot, I don't really have any favorite actress whose acting I enjoy the most. But yeah, I would say Priyanka Chopra was one of my favorite actresses.
All right. All right. So I'm gonna give it a go. What do you do beside music? I think the most favorite thing, the most strongest hobby that I have is books.
Hmm.
I read a lot, a lot. I mean, that's something that has the highest priority over everything. Yeah. So I think since a long time ago. I mean, since our university days, even before that. I remember that I was in the sixth grade, and the school library was off limits,
Hmm.
and they were it was only available accessible to students from ninth and 10th grade. And I remember that I just made friends
Hmm.
with those folks from ninth and 10th, just so that they can get me books from the library. So I
Hmm.
used to tell them that, hey, can you get me this book, this book, this book? And they would get me. I would read it and return. And yeah, I think from the very beginnings in childhood, I am into books, but it intensified after since university. It
Hmm.
intensified that I was into books a lot, especially science fiction, fantasy, but other stuff as well.
Hmm.
Nowadays, nowadays my eyes are not as young as they were, so I resort to audiobooks. And yeah, not a day go by I cannot fall asleep
Yeah.
if I don't listen to audiobooks.
Hmm.
um, Whether I'm on trips, whether I'm traveling, whether I'm doing anything, this
Yeah.
is one constant that I have, that I keep doing. So that's my most favorite thing beside music. Cricket, yes, we like cricket a lot. We are very passionate about cricket,
Hmm.
although we are finding less and less time
Yeah.
to watch cricket and talk about cricket, but we still do. We somehow find time, right?
Hmm.
Favorite games? If we are talking about digital games, then recent favorite is Frostpunk. Yeah. Although again, we don't get much time to do anything
Hmm.
else. Food. I'm not a very foodie person. Yeah, I'm not a very foodie person. I can eat anything. Although I do have some quotas that I meet
Hmm.
in terms of nutrition, so that's a regime that I follow.
Hmm.
Fashion line, no, I am very simple. I mean, I strive for simplicity in my life. I try to make every single aspect of my life as simple as possible, as effortless as possible. So I want to optimize everything that I can minimize the effort of, right? I would have, yeah, five black t-shirts
Yeah.
that I would just rotate and all. You know, I think I was telling Hammad that I have the same model of shoe that I was wearing in 2018,
Yeah.
and I bought because it suited me. I bought multiple of them,
Yeah.
and things like that. So no, I strive for simplicity. Movies until the end of our university and beginning of our professional career, I was also a huge movie buff at that time, because when then we had time.
Yeah.
But since then, I've kind of I don't get time to watch movies pretty much. And yeah, but I mean, I was saying in one of our videos that I don't remember the last time of which movie I watched, 2 years ago, how long ago. Yeah, I don't. Movie stars, same thing, right? I don't watch movies, so I don't have any specifics. And it changes as well, right? With time, you would have in your teenage, you would have one movie star that you would, yeah, look towards, look up to, but I don't. So I think that was rightly pointed towards you.
Okay, shall we move on then?
Yeah.
All right. So the next question is that if I'm not wrong, you both are full-time engineers and don't have a musical background. Despite the fact, how do you have such deep understanding of music? You want to go first?
Yeah. So yes, we are, and we don't have a musical background. But I think we also don't have deep understanding of music,
Hmm.
to be really honest,
Hmm.
right? What we do is, because of our profession and training, we are trained to observe things analytically.
Mm.
And we have spent so much time in our profession that yeah, we just think in a very analytical way about every single thing of our life, whether it's music, whether it's cricket, whether it's food, whether it's sleeping,
Yeah.
whether anything, right? Optimization, efficiency,
Yeah.
scaling, yeah, uh, simplicity.
Mm.
Simplicity is also, I mean, these are the values that we live by,
Yeah.
at least
Absolutely.
me. So we don't have a deep understanding of music, but we do have our own unique understanding of music, is
Mm.
what we have,
Mm.
right? And I think that is very true for each single individual. Each single individual who do listen to music, they have their own very unique way of understanding, of unique understanding of music,
Mm.
perception of music, how they process it, how they feel it. I mean, it's same as no one person sees the same shade of color. So if I'm seeing the color green, to my eyes and brain, that's a completely unique green color. And the same color Hamad would be looking at, his brain and eye would be processing that green color in a very different manner. And we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
would never know
Yeah.
that what green shade of green or how your brain is processing green, right? So that's how it is.
Yeah. I think I would like to just add one more thing. As Haris mentioned, we don't have any background in music. Although I want to point out that Haris's brother, Haris has mentioned in a couple of videos as well. He is also a dear friend. So he has been into music. So we kind of got some sort of understanding from him as well when we were in university. But yeah, I mean, as I mentioned before, we both are nerds in some capacity. So whatever thing we are passionate about, like we listen to music quite often. And I personally like to study about that thing which I'm passionate about. So I go through interviews, read blog posts or articles, and often we keep on sharing with each other to understand the music better. So it's not that we just follow what's trending or what's popular, but the kind of music that we resonate towards, we try to study about it if we can, whenever we get time. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess this is where our own understanding or taste develops further, and we try to share it with you all.
I just want to add that I always say that music and any form of art, even food, even clothing, even lifestyle, is situational
Hmm.
and environmental. And
Hmm.
environmental, right? So I mean, it depends on your age, it depends on your lifestyle, and it depends on what state of mental health you are in, and that influences what kind of music you listen to,
Hmm.
right? So the age and state we are right now in influences what kind of music we listen to or gravitate towards more. There are some musics that we just don't gravitate towards anymore, any
Yeah.
longer, or we just haven't been to.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's something that I want to add.
All right. Next question. Can you play any instruments? If yes, then what instruments? I think you can go first on this one.
Yeah, I mean that's easy. I used to play guitar. I keyword used to.
You used to, yeah.
Um, I used to, and how it began, it's very simple. There were two factors. The second factor, I will talk about my music in my musical influences question. But the second factor was that around those days when I was very young, school, end of school, beginning of college days, we used to have these load sheddings,
Hmm.
um, or breakouts,
Hmm.
right? Blackouts, sorry, blackouts. And yeah, and during those times we didn't have, I mean, we did have internet, but we didn't have electricity, so we couldn't do anything. We didn't have mobile phones, smartphones, right? So what I used to do, I just used to pass my time by learning to play guitar, and that's how I came to learn to play guitar, and I kept playing until end of my student days,
Mm.
and since then I just couldn't pick up because then I had other hobbies. After during end of university days, after I was a lot into sports. At that time I was into tennis as well, and
Mm.
then I got into other sports, table tennis, very passionately and all.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean it was just about time management, and then certain things took priority, and yeah, I just couldn't pick up since. The thing is that, especially I know that people will be asking that why don't you pick it up now,
Mm.
is because that it requires focus and time, right? It requires mental bandwidth,
Mm.
it requires headspace that I just don't have anymore
Mm.
these days. Especially these days, I don't I don't have mental bandwidth to process things. After my daily chores, whatever I'm doing, work, this, what we are doing, after this, I don't have enough capacity to pick it up. It requires dedication and consistency.
Yeah.
And so far, maybe I would pick it up, and maybe after 6 months or so, some things will ease up. Maybe I don't. So, but right now, that's something that, yeah, I'm unable to do.
Yeah. Right. So I don't play any instruments. I haven't learned playing any instrument. And yeah, I just used to sing, but that's about it. I mean, I love singing, but that is it. Haven't played any instrument
And
yet.
you were pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, used to be. Yeah, used to be is the
You
key word here.
still he's pretty good. And how can I tell? He has this habit of singing at random instances. So you're
Yeah,
taking a
that's
walk,
true.
you're, you're taking a walk and you're strolling, and he would just start singing. So we were recently together multiple times. I mean, he lives in a different city,
Hmm.
but yeah, whenever we are together, we are the kind of friends that don't require any. We don't require to talk.
Yeah,
We can be together and very comfortable in silence. So we are walking together and both of us are silence. That is not awkward between
yeah,
us, right? So we are comfortable in silence, and that's a hallmark of relationships, right?
yeah,
Um, and what he does to break silence, intentionally or unintentionally, he just starts singing. And this is not. I mean, this is not a new thing. This has been going on since the first I know him.
yeah, true.
He would just start singing, and he used to practice.
Yeah, during
He
my
used to
university
practice.
days, yeah, that's true.
So
All right, let's move on to the next one. I would like to know who are your musical influences and your life till now with music. Okay,
go.
so I was very young, probably 6 or 7. I had three elder brothers. I was the youngest, and they were all into Pakistani music. So those were the days when you had tape recorders and cassettes, literally, and they used to sing to Junoon and Vital Signs and other Pakistani bands all day. So at a very young age, I started to listen those classics, and I grew up listening to them, and that's where my taste for music established as well. But after a few years, it just stopped. I stopped listening to music, not intentionally, but because of certain reasons. I don't know why. But again, I mentioned it in one of the videos as well that I think I was in ninth grade when Adat was dropped from Jalta band. Atif and Gaur, they performed that song, and that song was a rage. And that song brought me back to music again, listening to music again, appreciating the nuances of music again. So, yeah, I think influencers, if I talk about, I always mention it among friends as well that I love Pakistani band scene, although it's not that flourish or not too much. Even today, there are not too many bands who are doing work. But still,
But they were during our
our
formative
formative
years.
years, yes, there were a lot of bands, and I just loved Pakistani music, especially the band scene. I just loved each and every band, and we used to listen to underground versions, as well, underground bands, a lot of indie songs and whatnot. I mean, we used to listen to every Pakistani track back then. At least I used to listen to every Pakistani track back then. And yeah, I think that's about it about our influences or my influences.
Yeah, for me, so my musical journey began in un how should I put it, non-consensual manner.
Hmm.
Because my younger brother is an audiophile. He is an absolute audiophile,
Mm.
and yeah, I mean, because I was force-fed music because of him all the time, that I was actually kind of not into music,
Mm.
because yeah, every single moment I was force-fed music because he's listening to music. Then he had a band I mean,
Yeah.
he was part of a band as well, a rock band, for a very short period of time. Um, they don't have any work on YouTube, by the way.
Mm.
So yeah, that's mid 2000s. That's back in mid 2000s, right?
Mm.
We were very young. So yeah, this is where I got to um, get influenced. I mean, got to know instrumentation, got to know, I mean, I was sitting, I had gatherings amongst musicians. I was meeting stars because of him, right? We were sitting down with big names at that time, and I was around instruments a lot.
Mm.
And then they would be talking about the technicalities and notes and tempos and time signatures and rhythms and everything,
Mm.
right? And yeah, I think that was my influence, and that is how I kind of got into music. So at that time, I was not personally into music, but since I moved
Mm.
away from him, since I moved away from him, I kind of reconnected with music,
Mm.
because I think subconsciously, deep down, I miss him a lot, and yeah, I think music reminds me of him.
Mm. Amazing. Okay, then moving on. How did this YouTube thing happen? What made you review only music, excluding other things?
You want to tell the story?
So we actually, I think Haris mentioned in one of the videos as well. We wanted to start a channel discussing about cricket in the beginning. But at the same point of time, what we used to do is we have a group of friends and a WhatsApp group on WhatsApp group where we discuss cricket, music, etc., etc. And we just Coke Studio season 14 of Pakistan was going on, and we used to share tracks, discuss about each and every detail of the track as well, with each other. And at that point, I think one of us mentioned that instead of just putting out our thoughts on the chat, why don't we just start listening to music together and just start this YouTube thing or YouTube channel where we discuss music? So yeah, that is how this particular journey started for us on YouTube.
Yeah, actually, the timeline is such that I think almost a year ago, Hammad actually floated an idea that we talk a lot about cricket. Like, especially around that time, there was World Cup and PSL and
Yeah.
other big events happening in succession. And we were on about cricket, on and on and on and on. And he was like, why don't we talk it live and just share our thoughts?
Yeah.
Simple. We don't care who will be interested or not. I mean, people will be interested or not. We don't care whether we get any audience or not. Why don't we just try it out and he floated that idea at that time, and this kept brewing. I think that, yeah, it was on a cold stone, cold slab for a long time. And yeah, so then he kept mentioning, like, after 3 months, 6 months, that let's do it,
Hmm.
let's do a channel or something. Then Coke Studio season 14 happened, and we were talking about music a lot, and I told him that, hey,
Yeah.
can we do it? Can we
Hmm.
do it on video? And he's like, yeah, why not? We can. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. So yeah, again, it's how it started. We wanted to keep things simple, uh, as in everything else. So we just wanted to start. We just wanted to go on with it. We don't care about cameras and
Hmm.
mics and backgrounds and quality and all. We just don't care, right?
Yeah.
The We wanted to talk, and that's how I mean, I think the name of the channel reflects it.
Yeah.
So we actually were going to start talking about cricket, but at that point in time, all the cricket stopped, and there
Yeah.
wasn't any cricket going on. So we just started talking about music,
Yeah. All
right?
right.
And I think this is, yeah, this is how it is.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on then. What is your long run plan about this channel?
All right. By the way, I wanna take a step back. It's
Hmm.
the question also asked that what made you review only
Ah,
music, excluding other things.
yeah.
And it's, I don't think we are excluding anything. It's just that we don't. I mean, there's so much to talk about around music. There's
Hmm.
so much good music that we just couldn't come around to talk about other things.
Other things, true.
Maybe we would, maybe we wouldn't.
Yeah.
We don't know.
You don't know.
All right. What is your long-term plan for the channel? I would say that we haven't thought about it.
No, we haven't.
Um, at least I don't have any long-term plans. The plan was from the beginning that if we are doing this, we should be able to enjoy it.
Yep.
And if we are not enjoying it, then we wouldn't do it.
Yep.
Right? So if we are not enjoying it, then it's an additional chore that is putting a lot of mental stress on you.
Hmm.
So, on the other hand, if you're enjoying it, then it's adding to your quality of life.
Yeah.
So, we began and we were enjoying it. So, we continue to enjoy it. We still do. And until we stop enjoying it, we will do it, keep doing it, right?
Yep.
And if at some point we think that, okay, the factor of enjoyment is going low, then we would see what to do.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. I think you have already summed this up. We don't have any long-term plan as of now, or at least haven't
Yeah.
discussed, as long as we are enjoying this particular journey.
I just want to add one more thing. Very important thing is that at some point we would be taking a break,
Yep.
a significant break as well, because in as in everything with life, whether it's your work, whether you have any routine,
Hmm.
if you enjoy playing cricket a lot, you are super passionate about it. You're Shakib Al Hasan,
Hmm.
right? If you play cricket every single day, you will stop enjoying it. You
Yeah.
need to take a break from it,
Hmm.
right? So I think even if we enjoy this a lot, we would be taking a break, maybe at the end of this year,
Yeah.
December, January, right? So I'm just gonna let this out right now, because yes, we want to take a break, get away from it, so that we come back rejuvenated
Hmm.
and yeah, more excited about
Yep.
doing this, continuing this.
All right. Then let's move on to the next question. Of the 100 videos, from where did you take the suggestions for most of them? YouTube, Instagram, or YouTube algorithm or recommendations? YouTube recommendations
I think it's very simple. Mostly from the recommendations from our viewers,
from our
first of all.
viewers. Yeah.
right? And then there was a mix of YouTube recommendations. People reach out to us on other channels as well, especially Instagram,
Instagram.
right? Yeah. What else? We have our own list as well, so we also explore. So we land on an artist or a group or a band because of some recommendation,
Hmm.
and we like it. Then we would go on exploring their other work as well,
Yeah.
right? So this is what we do. So it's a mix of all factors.
Yeah. Absolutely. We both have a common list where we keep on adding tracks and try to listen to them whenever we get time to. So yeah, it's kind of a mix. We get recommendations from our viewers a lot, even in the YouTube comment section, and we are so thankful to all of you for that.
Yeah, I want to add two more things very quickly. First of all, without your recommendations, uh, we wouldn't have found half of the artists,
Yeah.
half of the bands.
Yeah.
For example, Level 5, maybe we wouldn't have found them. For example, Carnival,
Hmm.
right? They are such hidden gems with less number of views because, and yeah, YouTube also doesn't really promote those kind of
Hmm.
artists and a lot others, right? So without your help, we wouldn't have known
Yeah.
about half of them. That's one thing. Second thing is that a lot of the people do reach out to us on Instagram as well and on other channels. I personally want to apologize to all of them because I'm not very active on Instagram and I rarely log in. And I'm trying to uh, make some room into my routine where I would be doing that
Hmm.
and would be interacting, responding to those comments very, very soon. But so far, I just couldn't handle that along with what else is going on in my life.
Hmm. All right. Then moving on to the next question. What are your most satisfying reviews? Okay.
All right.
Um, for me, it has got to be two, which are my personal favorite. One is Chilte Road. It was, I mean, um, heartbreaking, heart-rending journey that we had listening to
Traumatic.
traumatic journey that we had listening to that
I
particular
have
track.
PTSD.
And the second one for me is Khoe Java Chag by Level 5. These two are my personal favorites.
All right. For me, I think hands down it was Kanar Hat Bazaar.
Hmm.
I'm gonna link it up here. Kanar Hat Bazaar. That's my most favorite and one of my favorite songs as well that I go back to a lot.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, you mentioned Chilta Road, and I want to mention very, very quickly that maybe, unfortunately, um, YouTube will be taking that video down because of
Hmm.
copyright issues, and Coke Studio somehow picked that one video to take down,
Yeah.
and we don't know why. We have appealed and appealed and appealed, and we don't know what's gonna
Yeah.
happen. So, but it might happen that that video will no longer be there
Hmm. Quite
pretty soon.
possible. All right. So you mentioned Kanar Hat Bazaar. Any other that you enjoyed?
I think there are many
Hmm.
many, but Kanahat Bazaar so far is something that I enjoyed most,
I think
as much as I enjoyed the song.
I would also mention one more that we both enjoyed, and that was Bobar Pagal that we enjoyed the most
Oh,
listening to.
Bhopal, yes, absolutely. I mean, after Kanahat Bazaar, we have multiple. Bhopal Pagol is right up there. Chilte Road is, I mean, it's traumatic. I shudder when I think about it. There was others, She Shop Din Ratri, there was 60s Love,
Tracks from
yeah, many more.
McDowell. Yeah.
Yeah, Esho Amar Shore,
Hmm.
Shada Shada Kala Kala, I enjoyed
Hmm.
it a lot. Yeah, there are many.
Yeah.
Prana Sokhire
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
also one of my favorites. I enjoyed a lot and I enjoy the song a lot as well. So
All
there
right.
are many.
Yeah, there are many. Absolutely. Okay. Moving on. if any one of you departs of this show, that will be very shocking. Will you guys carry on the show after being a CEO of a big org, or will you do it spontaneously if you don't get subscribers? Okay. I think if I address the first part and the last part of this particular question, I mean, as Harsh mentioned, we joined hands and started to do this particular thing because we wanted to enjoy it, and we are enjoying it. Especially the kind of response that we are getting from the viewers. That is extremely satisfying for me personally. Um, the second thing I want to mention is that will you do it spontaneously? I mean, shut down the channel spontaneously if you don't get subscribers? For me personally, I think I mentioned it to Hais as well. The subscribers count, that does not matter to me that much, as long as I'm enjoying. And if the quality of subscribers, by quality I mean the engagement of subscribers, is amazing for us. So in our case, we are extremely humble that we have got the bunch of viewers who are extremely educating. So and that basically motivates you to create more content, and it also
To keep going.
to keep going. Yeah, it motivates to you to keep going. So the kind of audience that we have, so I don't think that the reason of shutting it down would be based on the number of subscribers for me personally.
Yeah, so I quickly want to say that first of all, will you guys carry on the show after being a CEO of Big Org? We don't know, right?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. This is a hobby kind of thing that we do it for because we enjoy it, as Ahmad said.
Yeah.
Now, the most important thing is that we are not doing this commercially. And if we were after subscribers or views and all, then we were doing what other channels do, right? All the commercial stuff, all the trending stuff,
Yeah.
etc. Right? And then there are bigger markets to do it for, right?
Yeah.
If you're chasing subscribers and you're chasing view counts, then some other markets offer you more population,
Poor population. True. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Or more numbers.
More numbers.
So that's not it. Why we do it is first and foremost that we enjoy music, and I mean, if even if we were not doing this, we would be talking about music privately, anyways,
Hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
So there is that. The second thing, as Hamad mentioned, that then there is this love that we get, and that is so precious, so precious. We are humbled um, that we get this much love, and this is actually the fuel.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
otherwise, because if we don't get that fuel, then our lives are so hectic
Hmm.
that I mean, why would we put in so much work? Because
Yeah.
it is so
So
much
much
work.
work.
It is a lot of work. I mean, I don't want to go into details, but it takes weekly. It takes a lot of time, significant chunk
Yeah.
of my weekly time or my waking hours to do this. But we enjoy it, and you all are part of the enjoyment factor.
Yeah.
If you weren't there, we might not be enjoying this much. We would still be enjoying music, but this collective enjoyment is what keeps us going.
Yeah. 100%. Okay, moving on. Why did you guys pick mostly Bengali all form arts to react? We have merged the question. What is the specific matter that drew your attention to Bangladeshi music, or how did you get interested in Bangladeshi music? Okay,
All right.
an interesting story. So, Coke Studio Bangla started, and we listened to Nasik Nasik. We liked that particular track. We discussed about that particular track, Interestingly, we recorded the session as well for that particular track, but we actually fumbled in terms of technicalities, and we couldn't upload that particular video. So we did Nasik Nasik before, and for me personally, the track that dragged me into the Bangladeshi music culture was Kanahat Bazaar, which Haris shared. So that track, he did not share anything with me about that particular track. He just said that I have a track that we have to do, and you will get to know about that track when you listen it. So Kanahat Bazaar was a real reaction video for me. I hadn't heard that particular track. He didn't share it with me. He just fell head over heels on the track, and I think once I heard that particular track, it was the starting point of this particular journey. I mean, for me, I was very oblivious. I didn't know the band culture of Bangladesh. I think Haris would agree with me as well. We didn't know a lot of musicians. We didn't have any kind of visibility to the Bangla music culture. And
On
that,
this topic, we will come back later as well.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
we,
go
we,
on.
we didn't intentionally chose it, um, for me personally, but a couple of tracks like Nasik Nasik and that Kanahat Bazaar, it forced me to listen to Bangladeshi music more, and yeah, and basically enjoy the nuances of the music that the Bangladeshi culture brings.
I think I can add more because I was kind of the one who steered both of us
Hmm.
into this area. Um, the truth of the matter is that, as Ahmad said, that we didn't have Bangladesh or Bangla music on our radar at
Hmm.
all. What we wanted to do was actually talk about the Coke Studio season 14.
Hmm.
This was the inception. We wanted to talk, and this was mid Coke Studio season 14,
Hmm.
right? And Coke Studio Bangla was nowhere to be found. I mean, it came way later, and we wanted to start doing recording the sessions, and we just couldn't for some reason, for one reason or another. We just couldn't find time. We just couldn't align. We just couldn't sit down together.
Hmm.
We had technical challenges that took some time to sort out. By the time we did our first video, it was already the last video of
Coke
Cook
Studio
Studio
Season
Pakistan,
14.
which was Phir Milenge,
Hmm.
right? And then, because the season had already ended, we were thinking about listening together other songs, but then suddenly Coke Studio Bangla
Bangla.
popped up,
Hmm.
and because we were in such a state of withdrawal, right? We were detoxing. We had this symptoms of withdrawal from Coke Studio season 14 Pakistan, that I jumped on Coke Studio Bangla and I listened to it, and I was like, yeah, wow, okay, they are
Hmm.
doing good stuff.
Hmm.
And then I shared it with him that, look at that, they are doing really good stuff. And yeah, and then we couldn't come around to it as well. Then Prarthana dropped,
Hmm.
and this is when I was totally floored. I was totally floored. I mean, my mind was blown, absolutely blown. And I was like, Ahmad, we have to do it together. We have to listen to it together.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I
Hmm.
mean, no way we are not doing this. And even at that time, we weren't uh, deep into Bangla music. No.
Hmm.
Right after that, we did that. And right after that, I saw a YouTube suggestion, for some reason, a God sent Kanar Hat Bazaar. Kanar Hat Bazaar. And then that, yeah, I think that just locked me in.
Hmm.
Locked me in, I think locked both of us in. What happened due to those two tracks, Prarthana and Kanar Hat Bazaar, that we got a lot of encouragement, a lot of recommendations. And when we started hearing those recommendations, they were all top
Top
notch,
notch stuff.
top notch. And we kept hearing and kept listening together and kept hearing, kept listening together. And it was, I mean, we just dug the hole deeper and deeper, deeper, and so far we cannot get out.
Yeah.
Right? So um, on the other hand, we are also very open to music from other regions. It's not like we only gravitate towards Pakistani music or Indian music. We also listen to a lot of other music,
Hmm.
Turkish,
Yeah.
Western, um, yeah, Persian, um,
On some occasions, Korean.
Arabic, yeah, Korean, European,
Hmm.
different European, Latin.
Latin
So
music.
we do explore a lot of music, and because of the suggestions, because of the because of all of you, we were getting so many good
Yeah.
songs, so many good music, so much good music that we just couldn't stop.
Hmm.
And I mean, that's completely incidental, unintentional, and we are glad that it happened.
Absolutely. All right. Um, did Bangladeshi music add anything special in your experience? If yes, what is that? Okay, so for me, as I mentioned in the response earlier, I personally didn't know that the Bangladeshi band culture is so rich. I was always very um, inclined towards Pakistani band scene. I loved Pakistani music since the beginning, but what Bangladeshi band scene did was that it expanded my vision to explore music from this particular region. So I got to know amazing artists who are doing brilliant work, which is not known to the world. And that is one thing. I mean, um, when I listened to Haina Express with you guys together, I think that was highest form of art that we experienced. It was an amazing track. So this experience was missing from my musical journey since the beginning. So this is something that got added to our experience.
Yeah, I want to add that anything special. The thing is that apart from music, I got to I how should I put it? I got to know some aspects of culture
Hmm.
and society
Hmm.
that actually blew my mind. Is what I would say.
Yeah.
Apart from music, uh, through this journey, I was introduced to some very unique aspects and culture and nature of Bangla people that I would discuss later in one of the questions.
Hmm.
That just was, I mean, very awakening, very, very heartening. And I'm so proud that I got to know it. But that would come later.
Okay. All right. On the similar lines, we have next question. As per you, what are the strengths of Bangladeshi music and what are the weaknesses? Not on the similar lines, but yeah. What's your view on Bangladeshi music or Bengali songs? I personally think that there isn't any weaknesses that I can point out to, or maybe the kind of music that we are listening to is so superior that I wouldn't say that there is any weakness in general, but um, strength. I mean, I personally think that Bangladeshi rock scene or the band scene deserves more recognition. That's one of these strengths. So yeah, just a very short version of my answer.
Okay, so yeah, building on what Hamas said, I think the strength of first of all, we have barely scratched the
Yeah.
surface. One thing. Second thing is that we are listening to a very niche sort of music.
Hmm.
Third thing, we are not doing any commercial stuff, right? And we have barely scratched the surface. Now, the strength so far of what I've got or the view of Bangladeshi music is that their rock scene is hard. I mean hard rock. It's really it's really amazing. It's really top notch. the culture around it, yeah, the kind of music they are doing
Hmm.
is in this subcontinent, I think the best so far.
So far, yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's another strength that I found so far in this small sample size that we have heard is that they gravitate towards folk music, or they're
Hmm. Hmm.
leaning
Hmm.
their tendency toward folk music and folk instruments,
Hmm.
right? And that's something that I really admire,
Yeah.
that a nation that holds their folk music or folk art so close
Yeah.
is something special.
Yeah.
So I think this is where that adds a lot of strength. I mean, this tells you about character.
Hmm.
A nation that is holding on to a form of art, folk art, that tells you a lot about the character, about the nature,
Hmm.
right? And that is the actual strength of Bangladeshi art scene. I would
Hmm.
say art. I wouldn't say music. The weakness of Bangladeshi music scene, art scene, is that they limit the audience
Hmm.
um, to only those who speak or understand
I
Bangla.
understand your point. Yeah. Yeah.
They 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 limit. They have walls around it, right? They have intentionally, unintentionally, I don't know, right? The first thing is that when you have art that you want to share that is not self-descriptive, you want to also add some context, narrative,
Hmm.
description that might come into form of lyrics, romanized lyrics, translated
Subtitles.
lyrics, subtitles, right? Some description. I interestingly, there are there are only very few rare examples who do that.
Hmm.
Coke Studio Bangla is amongst those rare examples, and there are one or two more so
Hmm.
far that I've seen.
Hmm.
None else, none else. Now, I mean, if you are creating the highest form of art,
Hmm.
right? You're producing such an amazing art,
Hmm.
then you got to enable everyone.
Yeah.
So the enabling factor is missing.
Hmm.
You
Right.
kind of disable foreign audience to consume it
Hmm.
properly. You can still consume it pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And in a lot of the tracks, I say that instrumentally, I love it, but I don't understand everything else.
Hmm.
This is where I become disabled.
Hmm.
I have limited accessibility, and this is where the Bangladeshi music scene or art form or whatever, they are doing themselves huge injustice.
Hmm.
Now the second thing is that the walls around copyright. Now I understand intellectual property, right? And we respect that. But if you do not allow this art form in any manner to be used or utilized or consumed elsewhere, then it limits the reachability,
Hmm.
accessibility, right? We have so many amazing tracks, music, other art forms that are just um, we are unable to use or unable to utilize or do it. I mean, share on this channel,
Hmm.
right? Um, what Coke Studio Bangla did, and especially I want to mention Coke Studio Pakistan, right, and other Pakistani band or music. They mostly allow to use their music.
Yeah.
Coke Studio Bangla initially allowed it,
Hmm.
but for some reason now they are striking or they are putting a claim or dispute on each of our music some reason, and probably gonna soon take down Chilte Road.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what is the reason. Yeah. Anyways, so I think that does themselves a disservice,
Hmm.
maybe,
Hmm.
or maybe they want to protect their intellectual property. Sure, sure. And yeah, I think this is where they limit the accessibility and reachability, and they do disservice.
Okay. One last point that I want to add in terms of its strength, I think one of the viewers mentioned that poetry is considered as the highest form in Bangladeshi culture, and this reflects in the music as well. So we often come across the tracks which are poetically, I mean, in terms of the poetry, are literally next level as well. So they have the message beyond the commercial stuff, the message that makes you reflect on the issues around you and things around you. And this basically moves you the most when it comes to music. Although we don't understand the language that much, but even when I literally just Google Translate it, I kind of get the idea that what they are trying to say, and it's meaningful for us. All right.
Hmm.
Anyways, moving on. Did you guys watch Bangla movies or series? So we haven't. I have one movie in my watch list, actually two, Hava and Nodorai, and I think I'm gonna go watch Nodorai pretty soon, probably on this weekend. But no, other than that, we haven't watched any movie or TV series from Bangladesh yet.
There was another question similar to this, that have you guys watched Hava already? So the short answer from my side is no, because as I said, I just don't get to watch movies. Not because I don't want to, because so far I'm unable.
Hmm.
But whenever I do get to watch it, I would definitely.
I'll probably watch Hava movie when it's released on the online platform. I don't know if it's up here in any cinema, but we haven't watched it obviously. But once it comes on any online platform, streaming platform, then I'll definitely watch it. It's
I would
so
probably do that as well.
yeah.
Hmm.
All right, moving on to the next one. When will you visit Bangladesh?
As soon as we are able.
Yeah, we don't know
I mean,
yet.
as soon as we are able.
We don't know yet,
We
but
don't know yet. We want to.
hmm,
I want to. I really, really want to.
desperately.
And someday we will, definitely.
Yeah.
There's no question around it.
Hmm.
No question around it.
All right. How is your experience with Bangladeshi viewers so far?
All right. Yeah. So I can take this one. I think this is one of, first of all, thank you so much, whoever asked this question. Very good question.
Hmm.
Shouldn't have, I mean, don't have to mention this. I have mentioned this multiple times to Hamad privately. I don't know how many times, that about the experience with Bangladeshi viewers, that I keep saying that it's unbelievable for me how mature and civil
Absolutely.
the viewership is, and I cannot emphasize this enough, that the maturity and civility that we see does not exist elsewhere.
100%.
So we actually were prepared for all the bad sort of comments, abuse, profanity, right? Toxic fan bases and all, right? And elsewhere, you have this a lot.
Hmm.
But here it just astonishes me periodically. I am reminded about this periodically, and then I share this thought with Hamad
Hmm.
periodically.
Hmm.
That, man, how amazing! How can this happen? How? Because in all cultures, in all societies, they are good and bad.
Hmm.
But so far, what we have seen, the the good outweighs the bad exponentially.
Yeah. By
99 to
huge
1.
margin.
99 to 1.
Yeah.
99 to 1. Right? There are few, but there are always few.
Yeah.
They always are. There always are these kind of people. But this surprises me pleasantly and amazes me. Sometimes it just blows my mind that how amazingly civil, mature, um, educated. I mean, I'm out of adjectives pretty much. Uh, this doesn't happen. So this is very unique, and I mean, this goes a huge credit to the whole society, the nation.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, true. I just want to add one more thing on top of it is that um, the audience experience that we have had is such phenomenal that people are going extra mile to support us,
Absolutely.
not just translating the lyrics, but sharing the backstory, telling us the complete narrative, translating these songs themselves in meaningful way for us to be consumed, so that it becomes easily consumable by us. Um, this is beyond amazing. I mean, I didn't expect it when I started this particular journey.
So let me say this. This is actually not a favor. This is a debt.
Yeah,
We are pretty much indebted.
indebted. True.
We This is not a favor. We don't take it as a favor. I actually feel that we are indebted
Yeah,
with the kindness, with the humbleness, with your generosity.
yeah.
This again, when I say that this phenomena, the maturity, the civilness, the generosity, is I haven't seen elsewhere. And I can tell you that we follow other channels as well
Hmm.
who do similar kind of work, and they have shared their horrible experience as well, right? The toxicity, the horrible nature of some experiences, threats.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't want to go into it, but so far, I mean, this is a complete contrast.
Yeah,
Complete contrast.
absolutely.
And again, I want to last very quickly mention that this is a huge credit
Hmm.
to whole nation. This reflects on the nation itself.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on. Why Pakistani viewers are so few here? Don't they enjoy and talk about Bangladeshi songs? Okay, so my take on that would be that even we were ignorant. We hadn't heard to Bangladeshi music before. Um, an average Pakistani, I think, listens to Bollywood stuff, maybe to some Indian songs as well, or to Pakistani songs, because obviously one of the factors that is the language. You can understand Pakistanis understand Hindi as well, and they can easily consume those stuff. So most of the people are listening music to enjoy it while they're traveling, while they're going at somewhere. So they kind of tune into the music which they can understand and enjoy. Whereas when you are listening to a music from a different country, even let's say if we are listening to German music, it would we would have some sort of hindrance. We would probably understand the music because of
Barrier.
yeah, it would be a barrier for us because we don't understanding the language as much. So probably would enjoy the music, but we won't be able to enjoy it to the fullest because we won't be understanding it. So I think that's the only reason that you see fewer Pakistani viewers. I think, but there could be some other reasons which I don't think.
Yeah. I think I can rationalize this in few points. First of all, when we look inside Pakistan, right, there are major languages, four major languages:
Yeah.
Pashto, Sindhi, Punjabi, Balochi, Urdu. We only understand Urdu music.
Mm.
We don't even understand Pashto music. We
Yeah.
don't even understand Sindhi music, right? And
Mm.
we don't consume it as well
Mm.
because there's a language barrier,
Mm.
right? So that's not very localized to Bangla or any other language. That's even within
Within
Pakistan.
Pakistan as well.
Even we barely listen to Punjabi music.
Mm.
And even when we do during Kokshuri Pakistan, we did this top 5 video and we mentioned that how difficult it was to consume that music,
Mm. Yeah.
right? So that's one thing. Now, then about Bangla, yes, there is a language barrier about Bangla, right? So that's one thing. The second thing is that people from this region, they, I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that they consume a lot of Indian culture, Indian cultural export,
Hmm.
music and movies, and that's why they have a good grasp of Hindi or Urdu a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
And if you see, this is not true only true for Bangladesh. This is also true for Afghanistan, Iran,
Nepal.
as far as Somalia, a lot
Hmm.
of Nigeria, a lot of African countries consume a lot of Indian culture, and they have a good grasp of Indian language. And but uh, from Pakistan, I can talk about Pakistan. Um, the cultural export is not there. There's a huge language barrier that we have, and because of that, we just cannot consume. But the last and most important thing is what I mentioned earlier: that the inaccessibility, the unreachability, the the hard to consume nature of the art form,
Hmm.
of Bangladeshi art. That, yeah, that just doesn't help this as well.
Hmm. All right. Moving on. How is your feelings as a Pakistani when you think that Bangladesh was part of Pakistan and it got separated? All right. Interesting question.
So that
Yeah, you can go first.
so we all right. So we tend to don't dwell on politics and some sensitive topics like religion and all. But I mean, I probably have a hugely, maybe controversial, maybe not, opinion
Hmm.
that good for you. We are actually, I'm actually happy that this happened. Maybe it happened for the good, and yeah, I do believe that this this happened and it happened for the good. Um, and they are thriving.
Hmm.
They are, as a society, as a nation, as a culture, and I think that might not have been true if this weren't the case. And I am very proud, and I'm also envy. I also do envy,
We do envy. Yeah.
right? The proud progress that this nation has made. So I feel that I think it was for the better, and before I move on, I do want to mention that the history we consume, the history that is taught to us in all nations, especially in subcontinent, it's very one-sided, it's very whitewashed, and um, it's very um, skewed,
Hmm.
twisted, twisted. It's they're half truths. They're in some instances they're outright lies,
Hmm.
right? And there's a truth of it. There's a fact of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people just don't know. A lot of the people who are trained and taught to not ask questions,
Hmm.
whatever you have taught, that's it.
Hmm.
They dwell on it, and they don't find answers from outside sources, or they don't question what you have been taught. They just don't understand, they just don't know, they keep ignorant,
Yeah.
right? So that is the case with majority, I feel. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, from my end, I feel this way.
Yeah. Absolutely. I would agree with that, and I want to just chime in on that regarding the progress, the point that you made, the way they are thriving. It's kind of a case study or an example, right? So uh,
Absolutely.
this is, I mean, I have worked while I was in Dubai. I've worked with Bangladeshi people as well. Even in Germany, I've got a chance to work with Bangladeshi people. I was blown away by the kind of humility they have. And I mean, most of them used to call me, even if they were senior, they used to call me Hammad Bhai. So it's it's just astonishing. And yeah, I mean, this is uh, I had an honor of getting to meet for a couple of minutes Professor Muhammad Yunus during a summit. And I mean, we know he has won Nobel Prize and he's a genius when it comes to economics, right? So I was most of the people during the summit, most of the well-known people during the summit, they had different kind of personality, but when it came to him, it was entirely different. He was so humble, so down to earth, meeting people as if he was just a normal person. Um, and this made me realize that what kind of nation this is going to be, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think I just want to add that when you have a blindfold of nationalism and blind patriotism, right? You tend to not see things.
hmm,
But when you take it off, even slightly, you starts getting glimmer, right? I think I have had this very anti mainstream, or I would say nationalistic views, even before moving out. But since then, um, my anti-nationalistic um, point of view, or leanings have enabled me to see things from a different lens as well, right?
hmm,
But the picture we see is extremely beautiful.
yeah. All right. Now moving on. How about your favorite Bengali song so far?
You go.
Okay, so for me, the list keeps on changing. I cannot name a single track. But if you talk about my current playlist, the tracks that are there in that, I I have A Hawa from Hawa movie. This is one of my most favorite tracks. I have Chilte Road. I have Koi Java Chal from Level 5. That is my absolute favorite because of one of the best chorus that I have listened to in recent times. And it's extremely nostalgic. Then I have Jontrona, the fourth track from Mohan Sharif. That is in my playlist. I have Khor from Highway. That's the fifth track that I'm listening to these days. And I've recently started to listen to Oniket Prantor again. So these are six tracks that are in my current week's playlist. But I'm sure there are obviously many more favorite songs, and they keep on changing. But these six tracks are in my current playlist.
Right, yeah. I mean, the favorite songs, they keep on changing. They are like seasons, right?
Hmm.
They come and go. But yeah, I think since the start of my journey, um, I can say this with a lot of confidence that She Shop Din Ratri is my absolute favorite,
Hmm.
like by a mile. I mean, everything else comes after a huge margin.
Okay.
So She Shop Din Ratri is something that I never skip. If I see while scrolling, I put it on. If it comes on, it stays on. And in certain instances, I seek out Shisha Din Ratri as a shelter, as a roof
Hmm.
to hide under. It's raining, I will put it on. If I'm feeling stressed, I put it on. Things like that. So Shisha Din Ratri is, yeah, by a mile my absolute favorite.
Hmm.
Now, after that, I have many songs that I love a lot. Um, Amongst them, Popper Pagal, right? Pratna is there, Kannada House Bazaar is there. That I don't really often, I mean, don't really listen to often, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes I do based on my mood, right? And there are many tracks. Korgadi, yes, sometimes. Yeah, but I mean, everything else is very situational. She Shop Dinrasri is a constant. I am in love with this song. that I haven't been in love with a song like this for a long time. You know,
Hmm.
I just cannot get tired of this.
Okay. For me, it's actually those two. If you just talk about those two constants, it would be A Hawa and Khoye Jama Chan. These two are in my playlist always.
Yeah, I mean, I want to mention Level 5. They also have, I mean, from their album, I have a lot of songs that I gravitate towards, lean towards in certain times. Yeah, but Shisha of the Nastri is magic,
Hmm.
is medicine.
Rightly put. Okay. Then the second last question is any inspirational comments that moved you so deeply that you will never forget? I mean, there are
You go.
plenty. There are plenty. I cannot single out. It would be really unfair. It would be really unfair to single out any single comment. But I remember one comment. I'm really sorry that I'm forgetting the name of that person. But we reacted to one of Coke Studio Bangla track. I think it was Shop Loco Koe. I think it was that track. And one of the guys commented that for him or her, the Coke Studio Bangla season is incomplete if they do not experience our review and reaction video. So that was something that,
Coke Studio, yeah,
yeah,
experience is incomplete.
their Coke Studio experience is incomplete without our video. So that was so humbling. And yeah, that stick with me in my mind. And that is one comment that motivated me further to explore music, as Harris mentioned in the beginning, to come back and review songs, listen songs as that. That was one of the comments, and I'm extremely sorry I forgot the name of the person.
Right. So, yeah, as Hammad said, that it's, I mean, we cannot single out few. What I would say is that this is becoming, for me at least, a family. At
Hmm.
least, or how should I put it? I I have a very weird sort of connection or relationship with certain people or certain sort of comments. If for some reason during some videos we don't see a certain person,
True.
we mention, I mentioned to him, hey Hamad, where is
Where's
this
the comment of
guy or
this guy?
girl?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
or where has he gone? And I'm wondering what is happening with them, especially one
absolutely.
person that I mentioned, Tuhin Bhai.
Tuhin, Tuhin Islam.
He is our elderly, and we have huge amount of respect and love towards him. One of the very early supporters, and he hasn't been around for a while, and
Yeah.
we wonder what's going on with him.
Hmm.
We hope that he's doing well. But even apart from Zohin Bhai, there are so many that I just don't want to take names. You know
Hmm.
that I'm talking about all of you. Um, that we have a very weird connection. We look forward to, actually we wait, we
For
get
their comments.
excited, right, for listening from you, right? Most of the times we just don't get to be able to respond because we get so many. We unable to, and sometimes we are held back because we don't want to be responding to only certain people as well.
Hmm.
So that's also something, a mental barrier that kind of hold us back. But yeah, so there's this kind of connection. I have this feeling of being in a family where where in family, no matter what you do, you are supported, you are encouraged,
Hmm.
you are loved,
Hmm.
right? And I the community that we have, um, that we belong to, it gives me that feeling, right? So I think this is what I want to emphasize on and mention. Then there were some memorable ones, like, I mean, there were a lot of appreciations and acknowledgments that warms our heart a lot and pushes us to keep doing this.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, it's our fuel. But there are some that really stands. I mean, I wouldn't say stand out, but I mean, kind of remember where they say that the first thing in the morning to do is watch out for our videos. Every time on the in the lunch break,
Yeah.
during work, I seek your videos. Things like that. Um, and a lot of loved ones. The people call us family, and we absolutely embrace that
100%.
feeling, right? That sentiment. We 100% embrace that, and honestly, subconsciously, we already think about a lot of people already in terms of brothers and sisters and family.
Yeah.
That if by chance we would meet them someday, that would be like that we are seeing family after a long time.
100%.
So I would say that. But the one thing that stood out for me, by a person that you would be seeing this pretty soon, is, I think it's a spoiler, Hamad. Um, I don't know if you got it or not, but
I haven't.
all right. So there was this comment that you would see soon, that one person showed our video to their mother,
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh, yeah. Okay.
and then and then yeah, their mother appreciated our work, and it's something along those lines. I don't want to share more details, but I think that was something that kind of pulled the rug under my feet. I
Absolutely.
was floored. I was uh, kind of broken in a good sort of manner after that. Um, I was humbled. I teared up, and
100%.
that was I mean, that was the most heartfelt thing someone could have shared with us.
100%. And
Yeah,
you are going to experience that. You just have to bear with us. It's kind of a hint or spoiler given by Haris, so you will see it on our channel.
I'm sorry about that.
But no, I think
Should have not
it's.
done that.
Let's see. I think our viewers will get to know whom we are talking about. So yeah. Anyways, coming to the last question, um, what would be your message to all of our viewers regarding anything that's very close to your hearts?
You
Okay.
go.
Uh, I'm not not the kind of guy who is good at giving any advice or message. um, but to our viewers in general, my only message would be to just embrace every moment that you are spending. It's extremely, um, we all should be extremely thankful, extremely gracious of whatever we are getting in life, whatever chance we are getting in life, even a single breath that we take, we shouldn't take it for granted. Um, and we should embrace every moment. Just try to be humble always. I always keep on saying to anyone who asks me for any kind of advice is to just stay grounded and humble, always, no matter what the circumstances are. Um, and yeah, this is the only thing that I would like to add from my side for the message that you are seeking for. I'm really sorry. I'm really bad at giving any messages or advice to anyone.
All right. All right. So, yeah, I mean, that's very difficult. But what I can say is that, as I was mentioning previously, that the maturity, the civility, the generosity that people have shown, especially from where our majority of the viewership comes from, which is Bangladesh. I want to say that first of all, take a lot of pride in it,
Yeah.
but also, understand that you need to carry this forward. You do, I mean, this is something that you need to maintain and go forward with,
Hmm.
right? Try to instill this somehow into your children, into people around you. The amount of positivity, the amount of acceptance, the amount of tolerance,
Hmm.
the liberal values that I have observed so far. Please, the religious acceptance, the cultural acceptance, everything, the all the liberal values that we see. Please continue your efforts in that direction, and these are the values which builds a society, a nation. If you're tolerant, if you're accepting, if you look past the differences, this is what strengthens a nation, a people. This is what builds, and this is why Bangladesh is going so far ahead. This
Hmm.
is, I think, one of the reasons for their progress. Um, yeah. So I think you all, this nation should be very proud and continue the work in this area. Um, be Continue being yourself. Continue uh, preferring, prioritizing love over differences and hatred.
Very well put. Very well put. Extremely well done. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
All right. Anyways, I think this concludes our list of questions. I would like to thank you all once again for showing so much love, respect, and support throughout our journey, sharing your questions. We have tried to respond to all of them. If we have missed any question, let us know. If you have any further questions, just drop us some comments and we'll try to respond those in the comments as well. And yeah, keep your suggestions, keep sending your suggestions to all of us. We are still exploring music further from different regions, and we will continue to do so. If you have any recommendations, any suggestions, any feedback for us, don't hesitate. Just share your thoughts with us as much as you can, and it helps us grow further.
Right. Yeah, I would just add that um, saying thank you falls short,
Hmm.
but I don't have a better expression.
Yeah. Thank you so much to all of you, and we will continue seeking good music for you and listening it together with you. Thank you so much again. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.